The mockery begins. Emerges empire. The Galactic Alliance was the most powerful force in the universe. It ruled over 1,000 star systems, controlled the flow of technology, and commanded fleets that could destroy planets. Every species feared them, respected them, or bowed before them. But there was one exception: humanity. At first, humans were ignored. They were newcomers to the stars, late arrivals in a galaxy already dominated by stronger, older races. They spoke of peace, of diplomacy, of cooperation. They sent aid to struggling worlds, built trade routes, and helped weaker species grow. To the Galactic Alliance, this was a joke. At the Grand Hall of Orvillus Prime, the Alliance's capital, the rulers of the most powerful empires gathered for a summit. Among them stood Ambassador Ryan Carter, Earth's representative. He was calm, composed, and as always willing to negotiate for peace. Sitting on the Grand Throne was High Warlord Sci-Fi, the supreme leader of the Alliance. His reptilian scales shimmered under the bright lights of the chamber, and his golden eyes glowed with amusement. Around him sat other leaders, massive insectoid queens, towering armored warriors, and sleek-furred diplomats from the wealthiest star nations. And they were all laughing. "You humans are amusing," Sci-Fi sneered, his voice echoing in the hall. "You speak of peace, yet you stand among conquerors." The chamber erupted in chuckles. The insectoid queen clacked her mandibles. A massive, horned general from the Dracon Empire smirked, crossing his thick arms. "We see your weakness," Sci-Fi continued. "You offer food to the starving when you could take their worlds. You heal the wounded when you could enslave them. You build alliances with the weak when you should crush them. Tell me, human, why do you choose to kneel instead of to rule?" Ambassador Carter's expression remained calm, but inside, he was memorizing every word. His fingers tapped the edge of his data pad, recording everything. The Galactic Alliance thought Earth was weak. They thought kindness was a flaw. They were wrong. Another leader, a tall, armored alien with glowing blue eyes, stood up. "The Alliance has discussed the future of humanity," he announced. "And we have decided, Earth will never be part of us. You lack the will to conquer, to take what is yours. You are soft." More laughter, more mockery. Then Warlord Sci-Fi leaned forward, his golden eyes narrowing. "This is my offer, human. You will submit. Earth will pay tribute to the Alliance. Your people will serve as merchants, workers, entertainers for our worlds. But you will never be equals, if you refuse." He smiled, revealing rows of sharp teeth. "We will show you what true power is." The room fell silent. Every leader waited for the human's response. Ambassador Carter slowly exhaled. Then he spoke. "Earth has always chosen peace," he said, his voice steady. "Not because we are weak, but because we are strong enough to control our power." Some of the aliens frowned. "You mistake our patience for fear," Carter continued. "You mistake our kindness for submission. That is your mistake, not ours." Sci-Fi laughed. "A mistake? No, human. It is a lesson. One you will soon understand." The meeting was over. Carter was escorted out, leaving behind a chamber full of arrogant rulers. But what the Alliance did not know was that Earth had already prepared for this moment. Deep in the shadows of space, in the darkest corners of the galaxy, humanity's true empire was rising. It was no longer just Earth. The emergent empire had been born, silent, unseen, but ready. And soon, the galaxy would learn the truth. No one mocks humanity and survives. The betrayal and the attack. The Galactic Alliance did not waste time. They saw Earth's refusal to submit as an insult, a challenge that had to be crushed. If humanity would not bow willingly, then force would make them understand their place. 3 weeks after the summit, the attack came. The first target was Europa 3, one of Earth's outermost colonies, the thriving world, known for its advanced research centers, bustling trade hubs, and lush green landscapes built within massive domed cities. The colony was defenseless. At least, that's what the Alliance believed. High Warlord Xylaris personally led the Drakon fleet, a force of 50 warships, each capable of reducing a city to ashes in seconds. Alongside them, the insectoid Selkar swarm descended upon Europa 3's outer settlements, their warriors eager to enslave the human population. They expected an easy victory. What they got instead was the beginning of their worst nightmare. The invasion begins. The skies above Europa 3 darkened as the massive warships descended, blocking out the twin suns. The people on the surface looked up in horror as thousands of alien troops began landing. Heavily armed, wearing battle armor stronger than steel, Xylaris himself stood on the bridge of his command ship, watching the invasion unfold. There was no resistance, no defense ships, no planetary shields, no ground forces standing against them. "It is as I said." Xylaris smirked. "Humans are weak." The invasion began. The alien forces marched through the streets, rounding up civilians. Human leaders were dragged from their homes, forced to kneel before their conquerors. Some tried to fight back with primitive weapons, but it was useless against advanced plasma rifles and energy blades. Xylaris stood tall, his golden eyes gleaming with satisfaction as he addressed the terrified human crowds. "This is what happens when you deny the Alliance," he declared. "Your planet now belongs to us. Your people belong to us." The alien warlord turned to his officers. "Secure the cities. By nightfall, Europa 3 will be ours." But as the sun began to set, something changed. The air grew tense. The once silent human prisoners started smiling. Xylaris frowned. Why were they not afraid? The trap is sprung. Then it happened. The sky above Europa 3 ignited. One by one, the massive warships of the Drakon fleet began exploding. Silent flashes of fire, bright against the darkening sky. On the ground, the alien invaders looked up in shock. Their mighty fleet was being torn apart. Xylaris staggered back, his mind racing. "Delu, what is this? What's happening?" A voice crackled through the Alliance's comm channels. A human voice, calm and confident. "You thought we were defenseless. You thought we were weak. You were wrong." Suddenly, hundreds of stealth ships uncloaked, emerging from the darkness like specters of war. They were unlike any warships the Alliance had ever seen. Sleek, fast, deadly. Their weapons ripped through alien ships like paper, their energy shielding absorbing enemy fire like it was nothing. These were Earth's hidden fleet, the Revenant Armada. Xylaris's eyes widened in horror. No, this can't be happening. On the ground, the human prisoners broke free, revealing hidden weapons. They were never captives. They were soldiers in disguise. Their exosuits shimmered as they activated hard-like shields, deflecting enemy fire while returning shots with plasma-enhanced rifles. Within moments, the invaders were no longer the hunters. They were the hunted. The fall of the Alliance's pride. Xylaris's forces panicked. The insectoid Selkar warriors, known for their merciless conquests, now screamed in terror as their bio-armors were shredded by human railguns. The Drakon soldiers, once fearless, ran for their lives as human combat drones rained destruction from above. One by one, the alien commanders fell. The streets of Europa 3, which the invaders believed would be their new home, became their graveyard. Xylaris watched in disbelief as his warships fell, his soldiers were slaughtered, and his dream of victory turned to dust. This isn't possible," he whispered. Then his comm screen flickered. A human face appeared. Admiral Ryan Carter. The same human diplomat the Alliance had mocked and humiliated just weeks before. Now he was no diplomat. Now he was the architect of their destruction. "You underestimated us," Carter said, his expression cold. "You thought we were soft, but you forgot something, Xylaris." Carter leaned forward, his voice calm but filled with terrifying certainty. Mercy is a choice. Strength is our nature. Silaris barely had time to process those words before a barrage of missiles struck his command ship. The mighty warlord's flagship, the symbol of Alliance dominance, was reduced to ashes. A warning to the galaxy. As the battle ended, Carter broadcasted a message across the galaxy. To those who think humanity is weak, let Europa 3 be your warning. We do not seek war. But if you come for us, if you threaten our people— He paused, letting the silence carry the weight of his words. We will remind you why the stars should fear us. Across the galaxy, rulers and warlords who once mocked Earth fell silent. For the first time in history, the Galactic Alliance feared humanity. Humanity strikes back. Shocking counterattack. The destruction of Europa 3's invaders sent shockwaves across the galaxy. The once mighty Galactic Alliance had never faced such a devastating loss before. Their warships were annihilated. Their soldiers were slaughtered. Their leaders, who had mocked humanity for its mercy, now trembled in fear. But the worst was yet to come. Humanity was not finished. The retaliation begins. Across Earth's secret military command centers, the plan that had been in motion for years was finally activated. Operation Revenant. This was not just a counterattack. It was a message. A reminder to the galaxy that humanity's patience had limits, and those who crossed that line would regret it. From the dark corners of space, stealth fleets mobilized, emerging from hidden bases that no alien empire had ever detected. These were not simple warships. They were designed for total dominance. Ghost-class destroyers with adaptive cloaking fields that rendered them nearly invisible. Omega dreadnoughts equipped with graviton cannons, capable of tearing enemy fleets apart in seconds. AI-controlled cyber warriors, infiltrating the Alliance's networks, shutting down planetary defenses before a single shot was fired. Earth was no longer on the defensive. It was time for war. The fall of the Dracon stronghold. The first target was Dracos Prime, the homeworld of the Dracon Empire. The same empire that had led the attack on Europa 3. They expected a counterattack, but they thought it would take months, even years, for humanity to recover. It took 3 days. As the Dracon High Command sat in their war chambers, planning their next move, the sky above Dracos Prime darkened. A massive fleet appeared, hundreds of human warships emerging from subspace, their dark metallic hulls glinting under the alien sun. The Dracon defense grid activated immediately, but it was already too late. Human cyber warriors, using quantum infiltration programs, had already hacked into the planetary defense network. Dracon orbital cannons turned against their own ships. Missile platforms self-destructed before they could fire. Entire battlecruisers, once symbols of Dracon dominance, were shut down, leaving them helpless in space. Then the human fleet fired. Massive hypervelocity railguns rained down destruction, obliterating key military installations in seconds. Tactical orbital strikes crippled their fleet yards before reinforcements could arrive. On the ground, elite Terran shock troopers landed, wearing advanced exo-armor, stronger, faster, and more deadly than any Dracon warrior had ever seen. Within hours, Dracos Prime, the heart of their empire, was burning. The once feared warriors of the Galactic Alliance were now fleeing, their proud empire reduced to ruins. The humans did not wipe them out completely. They left survivors, but not out of kindness. They wanted witnesses. They wanted the galaxy to see what happened to those who mocked Earth. The fear spreads. The fall of Dracos Prime sent shockwaves through the entire Galactic Alliance. Warlords, emperors, and high-ranking officials who once laughed at humanity now held emergency meetings in fear. The insectoid Xelkar swarm, known for their brutal conquests, immediately pulled back their forces, cutting off all aggression against humanity. The Corthan Dominion, a powerful empire that once considered launching an invasion of Earth, destroyed their invasion plans overnight. Across the stars, the message was clear. Humanity was not a race to be underestimated. Those who saw Earth's kindness as weakness had paid the price. Xylaris's desperate last stand. But High Warlord Xylaris, the same warlord who had led the mockery of Earth, refused to accept defeat. He gathered the remaining forces of the Alliance, rallying a fleet of nearly 1,000 warships, determined to crush humanity once and for all. "This is not over," he roared in a broadcast across the stars. "We are the masters of this galaxy. Humanity will burn." With his fleet, he set course for Earth itself. He did not realize he was walking into a trap, Earth's ultimate defense. As Xylaris's fleet exited subspace, entering the Sol system, he expected resistance. He expected Earth's warships to meet him in battle. Instead, there was nothing. The space around Earth was silent. Xylaris smirked. "They finally ran out of tricks," he growled. "Now, we end this." Then, the trap was sprung. Earth's planetary defense grid activated, and Xylaris realized, too late, that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't just its fleet, it was its homeworld. Massive orbital railguns, hidden within the planet's artificial rings, fired at near-light speeds, tearing through enemy capital ships before they could react. Swarm drones, programmed to seek and destroy, flooded space, ripping apart entire enemy squadrons. And then, the final blow. The Eclipse Cannon, a weapon so powerful it had never been used before. A planetary-scale energy cannon, charged by the power of Earth's sun itself. As Xylaris watched in horror, a beam of concentrated solar plasma erupted from Earth's surface, cutting through his fleet like a blade through paper. Within minutes, his 1,000-ship fleet was reduced to debris. Xylaris's flagship, the Conqueror's Wrath, was the last to fall. As fire consumed his ship, his last thought was not of victory, but of terror. He had mocked humanity. Now he understood. And then he was gone. A new galactic order. With Xylaris dead and the Alliance's fleets broken, the remaining rulers of the galaxy had no choice. They gathered before Earth's leaders, not to threaten, but to plead for peace. Earth did not demand slavery, nor conquest. They did not seek to rule the galaxy. They simply gave one message: respect us, or face the consequences. From that day forward, humanity was no longer a joke. They were the silent power that the galaxy feared, and no one ever dared to mock Earth again. The fear spreads. Aliens realized their mistake. The destruction of Xylaris's armada was more than just a victory for Earth. It was a message, a warning that echoed across the stars. The once mighty Galactic Alliance, a coalition of species that had ruled the galaxy unchallenged for centuries, now found itself in a state of pure panic. Worlds that once celebrated the fall of Europa 3 were now silent. Empires that once mocked humanity were now holding emergency war councils, desperate to understand what had just happened. For the first time in history, the galaxy realized what they had truly awakened. The broadcast that shook the galaxy. In the heart of the Selkar Swarm's hive world, the insectoid queens gathered, their clicking mandibles chattering in distress. On the throne world of the Korthan Dominion, warlords, creatures twice the size of a human, stood frozen in disbelief as reports flooded in. In the floating sky palaces of the Valshi Imperium, their psychic rulers whispered in terror, sensing a force they had never encountered before. Then, every holoscreen across the galaxy flickered to life. A single human stood on the screen. Admiral Ryan Carter, the man the Galactic Alliance had once laughed at, the so-called diplomat who had once pleaded for peace. Now he stood in full battle armor, his gaze like steel, his voice calm, unwavering, and deadly. This message is for all who once mocked humanity, for those who called us weak, for those who believed we would kneel before their power. He leaned forward. You were wrong. The galaxy watched in shocked silence as Carter played footage from the Battle of Europa 3. They saw Alliance warships fall like insects. They saw Drakon warriors fleeing in terror. They saw Xylaris's final moments, the once feared warlord realizing he had doomed himself. The leaders of the galaxy watched in horror. Carter's voice continued, unshaken. Humanity is patient. We choose diplomacy not because we are afraid, but because we believe in peace. We offer our hand not because we cannot fight, but because we choose not to destroy. His eyes hardened. But when you come for us, when you strike at our homes, when you take our kindness for weakness, he paused. You will see what we truly are. The screen flickered. Footage of Dracos Prime burning. The wreckage of the Galactic Alliance's fleets drifting in space. And finally, Xylaris's flagship consumed in fire. Carter's voice dropped to a whisper. Let this be your only warning. The broadcast ended, and in the silence that followed, the galaxy trembled. The collapse of the Galactic Alliance. The fear spread like wildfire. Insectoid warlords of the Telkar swarm, once proud conquerors, declared neutrality, pulling back their fleets from human space. The Korthan Dominion, a warrior empire that had once mocked Earth's fragile diplomacy, offered a formal peace treaty, swearing never to challenge humanity again. Even the Valshi Imperium, a race of telepathic overlords, sent emissaries, desperate to understand what kind of force they had just provoked. But not all rulers understood the lesson. One last defiant warlord remained, Supreme Chancellor Varkan of the Xyric Imperium, a brutal tyrant who had built his empire on bloodshed, a ruler who believed only in strength, and he refused to believe that humanity could not be crushed. We are the Xyric, he roared to his generals. We will not bow to these upstart primates. We will strike at Earth itself and burn it to the ground. He gathered his fleet, one of the largest remaining forces in the Alliance. 1,200 warships, armed with planet-killer weapons, set course for Sol system. He did not know he was marching into a death trap. Earth's final warning. As Varkan's fleet entered human space, something strange happened. There was no resistance. No human fleets moved to intercept them. No planetary defenses activated. Instead, a single transmission was sent to the Xyric command ship, a live holofeed. And on the screen, Admiral Carter stood once more. He said only 3 words. Turn back now. Varkan laughed. Do you really think you can scare me, human? Carter remained silent for a moment. Then he spoke. We are not threatening you, Chancellor Varkan. We are offering you mercy. This is your final chance. Turn back. Now. Varkan sneered. Fire the planetary cannons. Destroy their colonies first. The Xyric warships charged their weapons, preparing to strike at Mars and the outer colonies. And then, everything went wrong. The moment their weapons activated, their engines shut down. Their shields collapsed. Their navigation systems failed. The Xyric generals panicked. What's happening? Then they saw it. Earth's hidden war technology. A network of orbital quantum disruptors. Weapons that could shut down entire fleets in an instant, disabling enemy forces before a single human shot was fired. Varkan's fleet, his mighty 1,200 warships, was now helpless. On the holoscreen, Carter simply watched. Then he gave the final order. Erase them. From the darkness of space, Earth's eye-controlled fleet emerged. Cold, calculated, unstoppable. They did not negotiate. They did not hesitate. They fired. In less than 10 minutes, the Xyric fleet, the last force of resistance, was erased from existence. The galaxy accepts the new order. There was no war after that. There was no need for one. The Galactic Alliance officially surrendered to humanity. Not as slaves, not as subjects, but as equals. Humanity did not conquer the galaxy. They simply reminded it who they were. And from that moment on, one truth remained. Never mistake mercy for weakness. Because when humanity finally fights, the stars burn. The final battle, the last stand of the arrogant. The Zirek Imperium was no more. Supreme Chancellor Varkan, the last warlord of the Galactic Alliance, had been erased along with his entire fleet. His ambition to destroy Earth had ended in flaming wreckage. His warships turned to drifting debris in the void. The message was clear. Humanity was not to be challenged. But deep within the remnants of the shattered Galactic Alliance, there were still those who refused to accept reality. A secret meeting took place in a hidden stronghold, deep in uncharted space, a gathering of the last remaining hardliners, aliens who still believed in the old ways, who still saw humanity as an aberration that needed to be eliminated. They called themselves the True Dominion. Leaders of the Valshi Imperium, remnants of the Selkar Swarm, and scattered Drakon warlords had all gathered, whispering in the shadows. "We must strike now," one of the Drakon generals growled, "before the humans consolidate their power." "But how?" hissed a Selkar noble. "Their fleets outmatch us. Their technology has surpassed everything we know. If we attack blindly, we will meet the same fate as the Zirek." The room fell silent, until a smooth, calculating voice spoke. "There is one last way," said Ilaris, the Valshi High Lord. His psychic eyes glowed with cold hatred. "We do not need to defeat humanity in battle. We need to break their spirit." The others listened intently. "We strike at their homeworld," Ilaris continued, "not to conquer, not to rule, but to reduce it to ash. If Earth burns, humanity will never recover." There was a long pause. Then, one by one, the alien leaders nodded. The final battle had begun. The attack on Earth, a massive fleet, a coalition of the last remnants of the old alliance, emerged from the depths of uncharted space. They had gathered everything they had left. Every warship, every battle-hardened soldier, every piece of technology that could still be used against humanity. It was a desperate, final strike. And it was all aimed at one target, Earth itself. The fleet numbered over 2,000 warships, a last-ditch attempt to destroy humanity once and for all. As they approached the Sol system, they'd expected a fight. They expected Earth's mighty fleets to engage them in open battle. But instead, there was silence. No warships met them. No orbital defenses activated. The stars around them seemed calm, too calm. High Lord Ilaris narrowed his glowing eyes. Something is wrong. Then the trap was sprung. Humanity's ultimate trap. The alien fleet had walked directly into a kill zone. The moment they entered the Sol system, Earth's true defenses activated. The eye-controlled orbital network, a series of autonomous weapons platforms that had been secretly built for this exact moment, powered up. Massive graviton disruptors fired, locking enemy warships in place, preventing them from maneuvering. EMP bursts shut down enemy shields in seconds. Then the human fleet arrived. Not just Earth's fleet, but every human colony's warships, every battle group from every sector of human space. The largest armada in human history had been waiting. It was not a battle. It was a massacre, the death of the last warlords. Humanity's warships tore through the alien fleet with terrifying precision. Railguns fired at near-light speeds, shredding capital ships before they could even return fire. Swarms of automated combat drones flooded the battlefield, targeting enemy flagship after flagship with surgical accuracy. The Drakon warlords' warships, once considered the strongest battleships in the galaxy, were turned into burning wreckage in minutes. The insectoid Selkar forces, famed for their overwhelming swarm tactics, were outmatched by eye-driven counter-swarms, their organic fleets ripped apart from the inside. And in the center of it all, Ilaris watched in horror. His entire plan had failed before it had even begun. This is impossible," he whispered. Then his holoscreen flickered, and he saw Admiral Carter. The human officer looked at him with a calm, almost disappointed expression. "You had a chance to walk away," Carter said. "You could have accepted peace." Ilaris's hands trembled. You don't understand. The galaxy belongs to us. It is ours to rule. Carter sighed. Not anymore. Then the final order was given. Eliminate them. In one last, brilliant flash of destruction, the last remnants of the old Galactic Alliance were wiped from existence. The end of an era. When the battle ended, the silence was absolute. There were no survivors from the enemy fleet, no warlords left to challenge humanity, no voices left to mock Earth. The last stand of the arrogant had become their final defeat, and with their fall, the galaxy changed forever. The new galactic order. In the days that followed, the remaining governments of the galaxy came forward, not to fight, not to resist, but to negotiate. A new era had begun. Humanity did not demand conquest. They did not seek to enslave those who had once sought their destruction. Instead, they built a new alliance, one based not on fear, but on mutual respect. And Earth stood at its center. From that day forward, no species dared to call humanity weak. No empire questioned Earth's might, and no warlord ever again mocked human mercy. Because now, the galaxy knew the truth. Humanity's kindness was not a weakness. It was a choice, and when that choice was taken from them, the stars themselves burned. Mercy, but with a message. The war was over. The last remnants of the Galactic Alliance had been annihilated. Their greatest warlords, once rulers of the stars, had met their end in fire and ruin. The final battle over Earth had proven one undeniable truth. Humanity was not to be challenged. But what came next would define the future. Would Earth become the new tyrant of the galaxy? Would they take revenge on those who had mocked and attacked them? Would they rule with an iron fist, like the warlords before them? No. Humanity chose a different path. The trials of the fallen. In the aftermath of the war, a broadcast was sent across the entire galaxy. A live tribunal, held on Terra Prime, Earth's capital world. Seated in the center of the chamber were the surviving leaders of the defeated empires, the rulers who had once mocked Earth's kindness, who had sent their fleets to conquer and enslave. Now, they sat in chains, awaiting judgment. The galaxy watched in silence, expecting a brutal execution, a display of human vengeance. But instead, Admiral Ryan Carter stood before them, his voice calm but firm. "You expected us to become like you," he said, looking at the defeated rulers. "To take power, to enslave, to destroy without mercy." He leaned forward. "But we are not you." Gasps echoed through the chamber. The alien rulers stared in disbelief. "You took our kindness for weakness," Carter continued, "and you paid the price for your arrogance." His gaze swept across the room. "But humanity will not become the monsters we fought against. Instead of execution, you will face justice. You will answer for the lives you have destroyed, the worlds you have burned, the people you have enslaved." A moment of silence. Then, Carter spoke the final verdict. "You will rebuild the worlds you shattered. You will free the species you enslaved. You will spend the rest of your lives undoing the damage you caused." And then he delivered the last, most chilling words. "And if you ever threaten us again, if you ever rise to power and forget this lesson," Carter's voice dropped into a whisper, "we will not show mercy a second time." The galaxy's new era. The defeated warlords, humiliated and broken, had no choice but to accept their fate. Under Earth's watchful eye, they worked to rebuild the galaxy, not as rulers, but as servants of peace. The former war empires were disarmed, their fleets dismantled, their power structures were dismantled, and the oppressed species they had once ruled were given freedom. Earth did not rule the galaxy. They did not need to. Humanity had already won, not through conquest, but through unmatched power and strategic brilliance. No one dared to challenge them again. No one dared to test their mercy. Because now, the entire galaxy knew the cost of war with humanity. A final warning to the stars. As the galaxy adjusted to this new balance of power, one final message was sent from Earth. A simple statement. A reminder. Humanity seeks peace, but if you bring war to our doorstep again, a moment of silence. Then the message ended with words that sent chills through the cosmos. We will not stop at victory. We will make sure you never rise again. The legend of humanity. For centuries after, stories were told of the day humanity rose to power. Not as conquerors, not as tyrants, but as the unstoppable force that no one could defeat. The species that had been mocked for their kindness. The race that had been underestimated. The people who had chosen mercy, not because they were weak, but because they were strong enough to control their power. And so, across the stars, in the whispered tongues of rulers and warriors alike, one phrase was repeated: never mistake mercy for weakness. Because if you did, you wouldn't live long enough to regret it.